Humble benti, anybody wants to do seva, Chauda Sahib di seva, if you've done KC Ishnan, Bibia and Panjia, and you did last week as well. If you guys don't do it again, anybody else do Chauda Sahib di seva, please. Anybody can do it as long as you've done KC Ishnan, you've had a full bath and your clothes are clean as well. How it works every single week now, we have the talk, do a bit of Kirtan afterwards, a Q&A, Kirtan, and then we do shorty ardas, quick ardas, Hukunama Sahib, Sukhasan di Seva, where we do Guru Granth Sahib Ji Seva, and then we go with Guru Granth Sahib Ji to Sachkhand. So that'd be nice if everybody can stay. We go to Sachkhand together. If you've never seen that before, it's a beautiful thing that takes place every single day. And for anybody who hasn't joined the Japji Sahib, this online community that we have, you can join that. You can scan the QR code, and then the shabas that are sang afterwards as well. Jithe Jai Behe Mera Satguru. The person who's in charge of that community group, he'll send you the shabas, so you can read what is being sung basically when we're going with Guru Sahib Ji to Sachkhand as well. So I'll just leave it there. Thank you so much again. I'll pass over to Ronvi Singh to start this week's session. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
So before we start, is that me? If we can just start with five mool mantras and five Guru mantra. Ek onkar satnam karta purkh nirbhau nirvair akal murਤ jap ਆਦ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 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 ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ. So this week we're going to go through the third pauri of Sri Japji Sahib, and as last week Simran Panji went through the second pauri by Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Why is there only technical difficulties with me? I'll just click. Yeah. So Simran Panji went through the second pauri of Sri Japji Sahib, where the question and answers with the Sidhs and Guru Nanak Dev Ji continued. Now last week, Guru Nanak Dev Ji blessed us with the teaching ending the pauri with Hukm andar sab ko bahar hukm na koe nanak hukm je bujja ta home kahe na koe. That Guru Nanak Dev Ji is telling us that everyone is subject to Vaheguru Ji's will and their command, their hukm, and no one is outside of that hukm, that command, that Vaheguru Ji's will. And he who realizes that, the person who realizes this they never speak in ego again. So what does that mean? So never speaking in ego again, they realize that they're not this body, and their asal swarup, their true form, is actually the soul, and their mission is to submerge that soul, remerge that soul with the Vaheguru. So now before we go into the third pauri of Sri Japji Sahib, beginning with Gave ko taan, hove ke taan, when we have an argument with somebody, just to give context of the question and answers that Guru Nanak Dev Ji was having with the Sidhs, when we have an argument or debate with someone, there's two perspectives, right? There's for and against. In the same way, in the discussions that Guru Nanak Dev Ji was having with the Sidhs, there's Nikhed Pakha and Bidhi Pakha. So Nikhed Pakha is a negative lens, you can say. Because what the Sidhs were doing is, it's not like, us going to school and we're innocently trying to learn. The Sidhs were actually trying to recruit Guru Nanak Dev Ji to their dharm. Sidhs being ascetics. If I forget to translate, please just ask at the end. But the Sidhs are the ascetics, the ascetic beings. And they realized that Guru Nanak Dev Ji was very spiritual, and they wanted to recruit Guru Nanak Dev Ji to their dharm. So a lot of these questions they were asking, a lot of these Sidhs, they were asking, with the term we use in English, from a devil's advocate sort of perspective. They were trying to put limits on Guru Nanak Dev Ji's teaching about Vaheguru, so that then they could argue against or try to disprove the power of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And that is a lot of the arts we're going to go through today. Is going to be the Sidhs asking Guru Nanak Dev Ji about Vaheguru Ji's power, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji giving them the responses. So the first pankti of the third pauri starts with Gave ko taan, hove ke taan. So the Sidhs asked Guru Nanak Dev Ji, after the teaching we went through of the second pauri where they kept asking Guru Nanak Dev Ji about Vaheguru Ji's hukum. So they said, okay, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, you told us what you can about Vaheguru Ji's hukum. You've told us what you can. You said you can't tell us everything because there's no limits to Vaheguru Ji's hukum. But about Vaheguru Ji's power then, the person who creates the hukum, the person whose command the whole creation and the world is under, what can you tell us about his power? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji responded, Gave ko taan, hove ke taan. So from a Nikhed Pakha, that perspective, that lens, Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying that who has the power that Vaheguru Ji has? Only he can speak of Vaheguru Ji's power. The one, if there's anyone who possesses the power that Vaheguru Ji has, then he can speak about Vaheguru Ji's power and answer the question that you're asking. But there is no one. Who has the power that Vaheguru Ji has? That is the point that Guru Nanak Dev Ji was making to the Sidhs who were trying to put limits on Guru Nanak Dev Ji's power. So the Sidhs were then asked, okay, Maharaj, if there's no one who's on the same strength, who's got the power that Vaheguru Ji possesses, then what about Vaheguru Ji's gifts then? What are the gifts that Vaheguru Ji gives? And Maharaj responded, Gave ko daat, jane nisan. So Maharaj said, people who have received the gifts of Vaheguru, up to the extent of the gifts that they've received, to that extent they can speak of Vaheguru Ji's power. But and also on that point of Gave ko taan, hove ke taan, Maharaj said, so that they've given the Nikhed Pakha of the answer to this is that you can't put a limit to Vaheguru Ji, because who's got as much power as Vaheguru Ji has? And we can look that other people, they sung to get the power that Vaheguru Ji got. Some people sung just for power. They did tapasya meaning hard meditation, penance, to get the power that Vaheguru Ji got. So if, for example, Burma did tapasya for 10 million years. 10 million years Burma did tapasya for, and then he was given the boon, given the power to then be able to create the Srishti. In the same way, demonic beings, demons like Harnakash, he did tapasya standing on one toe for 1 million years. So he did tapasya for that long, and he was given the power, he was given those boons that he couldn't be killed at night and he couldn't be killed in day. But then again, even he and Burma didn't have the power that Vaheguru Ji has, because Vaheguru Ji came in the roop of Narsingh and killed Harnakash between daylight and sunrise. So Gave ko daat and jane nisan. So people can only sing up to the gifts that they've got from Vaheguru Ji. Now, so what are the gifts from God then? Because so Gave ko daat and jane nisan. Nisan also means sign or mark. So we can, as I said, we can only speak to gifts that we've received. So, but how can we even count these gifts? How can we even put an darja, meaning like an estimate, a target on how much gifts Maharaj has given us? Because from the moment we're born, we can even look at, from the moment we're born to when we take our first breath, Maharaj keeps giving us gifts. Every breath is a gift. Like Gurcharan Singh said in his talk a couple of weeks ago, we've got so much to be grateful for. Each breath that we take, the clothes that we have, the food that's on our plate, the plate that we eat our food on, everything that Maharaj gives us is a gift. Everything that we could even think of, all of that is Maharaj's dats. Now, a Sakhi related to this is of Bhai Adamji. So, Bhai Adamji was a farmer in the times of Guru Ramdas Ji Maharaj. And Bhai Adamji had done seva of many people, many saints in his life. And he was now reached of middle age, he was getting old, and he still hadn't had this gift, this dat of a child. And Bhai Adamji actually went to many people that we can now call Pakhandi Babbe, who at the time they weren't actually joining Bhai Adamji to Maharaj. They were giving him different mantras and jantras and stuff, but stuff that wasn't actually related to Gurbani, nothing that was in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and they were joining him to themselves and then just taking money and stuff from Bhai Adamji. Jantar is just like different mantras and different stuff to job, but it's not from Gurbani. So Bhai Adamji actually did what seva one day of a Gursikh, and this he told this Gursikh that I've done seva of many different people. I've lived an honest life, but I've not been given this dat, this gift of a child. And this Gursikh told him, and he asked this Gursikh after doing seva of him, can you give me this gift of a child? And the Gursikh replied, I can't give you this gift. But if you go into the home of Guru Ramdas Ji Maharaj, if you go to Sri Harmandir Sahib in Amritsar, and you do seva there, you'll surely get whatever gift you want. If you go there, you won't leave the house of Guru Ramdas Ji empty-handed. So Bhai Adamji went to Amritsar with his wife, and for 3 months he did lots of seva. And his seva was actually of langar seva. So he'd go into the jungles, and he'd collect wood, and he'd collect 2 stockpiles. One he'd donate for the langar, and one he'd keep for himself and his family, and he'd keep it safe. And obviously these are the days before central heating and gas cookers, so people actually used the wood. They'd light up the wood to make their food, make their langar, and also for staying hot. Now one day, it was in the monsoon season, and there was lots of rain, it was very windy, and a lot of the wood that people had gathered together had got wet. So the wood that was being used for langar wasn't usable. It was wet, so it wouldn't be able to be lit on fire. So they wouldn't be able to make langar, and other householders actually wouldn't be able to stay warm. But by Adamji noticing this and remembering the bhajan of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the teaching of Vand Ke Shakana, to share and eat together, Bhai Adamji used his own emergency stockpile of wood and donated it to the langar. And he also donated it to people so they could use to stay warm and stay hot and not freeze and be really cold and wet. And Guru Ramdas Ji noticed it. They saw that there was loads of fire and people staying warm, and Guru Ramdas Ji asked the Sangat, who has done this? Who has done this seva of donating all this wood and giving it for the Sangat? And the Gursikhs replied, it's Bhai Adamji. Bhai Adamji has collected from the wood that he collected for himself and his family, he's donated it for the langar. And Guru Ramdas Ji was so happy with Bhai Adamji, and they asked the Gursikhs to call Bhai Adamji over. And Guru Ramdas Ji asked Bhai Adamji, what would you like? You've done this seva. Is there anything you'd like? Is there any itcha you have, any desire? And Bhai Adamji, because he was of an old age, he felt a bit of sharm, a bit of shame, you could say. He didn't want to ask that actually Maharaj, I would like a child. I've gone everywhere, I've gone here and there, and I've not been blessed with this dat, this gift of a child, and I'd really like a child. So Bhai Adamji, even then, look at the vasta they had. If it was someone like me, maybe I would have said, yeah, can I get a Tesla? Can I get, win the lotto? Need some house renovations done. But no, Bhai Adamji said, Maharaj, just bless me with your Kirpa Drishti. Kirpa Drishti just meaning bless me with your blessed vision. That I can do your darshan and I can just stay in your blessed vision. But Maharaj is Antarjami, right? We read it all the time. We hear this saying Antarjami. Maharaj is the inner knower of all. So he said, are you sure, Bhai Adamji, They asked 3 times. They said, "Are you sure, Pakka? Like that's what you want? You just is that it?" And Paradamji said, "Hanji, yeah, I just want your blessed vision." And Mara said, "Chal, okay, but come back again tomorrow and come back with your wife." And so Paradamji went home. He came back the next day with his wife, and Maharaji asked again, what would you like then, Paradamji? And Paradamji said, look, because his wife explained to him when he got home that, look, we've done seva for this time, and if we're going to ask anything from everyone, if we want this dhat, this gift, we can ask Maharaj, right? Of course we can ask Maharaj. They can give us anything. So Paradamji said, Maharaj, I felt a bit of sharm, felt a bit of shame. We've gone to loads of different places and we've wanted this dhat, this gift of a child, and we've not received it. And Maharaj then said to Paradamji and their wife, in your karam, in your destiny, there's actually no child written for you. There's no child written for you in your destiny, in your likha. But for my own bhagati, for my own kamai, spiritual earnings, bhagati, Guru Ramdas Ji said that for my own kamai, I will bless you with a child, for that was meant to come from my own lineage. And Guru Ramdas Ji said, you will name him Bhai Bhagatuji, and he'll be a great Puran Gursikh. He'll be an amazing Gursikh, and you will have this child. So, and that's exactly what happened, Sadh Sangatji. Bhai Adamji and his wife had a kid. They named him Bhai Bhagatuji, and he did seva all the way until the times of Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji. So just showing that Pangati, Gave ko daat jane nisan, that some sing to get gifts, and some sing, they can only sing up to the knowledge of the gifts that they've received from Vaheguru Ji. So Bhai Adamji received that gift, and some people we sing for gifts, and Bhai Adamji sang and did seva to get this gift and was blessed with this gift of a child. So the Sidhs then asked Guru Nanak Dev Ji, what about Maharaji's gun then? Gun meaning their virtues. What can you tell us about Maharaji's gun? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji responded, Gave ko gun Gave ko gun vidya char. That you can only, who can sing of Vaheguruji's gun, their virtues, their beautiful virtues. Char meaning spectacle or beautiful, and Vidyaya meaning greatness. I would say, or the Vidyai Kiti. So Vidyaya meaning greatness. So Maharaj responded, who can speak of Maharaj's gun, their beautiful gun, their beautiful virtues? No one can speak of these virtues because no one possesses that much gun. None of us possess that much gun. But, so that's obviously in the Nikeda Paka from Bidhi Pak, how this relates to us. Even though we don't have the gun that Vaheguruji possesses, so we can't speak to the extent of Vaheguruji's gun, but some people, Gave ko gun Vidyayachar, some people sing Maharaji's gun so that they can be blessed with some of those gun. So sometimes we'll do Ardas, and we'll do Ardas for Shubh gun. Shubh gun meaning great qualities like Sata meaning truth, Santokh meaning contentment, Sata Santokh, Daya meaning compassion. We'll ask for these gifts. And then again, so there's so many different arts. So we've got the WhatsApp community as well. So we'll send a Bhai Kamalpreet Singh's steek in this. He's done an amazing steek that was produced by Singhs of the Taksal. Oh, no, I'll translate it. Just ask me afterwards. Singhs from the Taksal, stemming all the way from the lineage of Bhai Mani Singh Ji, Guru Gobind Singh Ji. So, and he's translated this steek from Vade Mahapur Katha, Vade Mahapur Sandgyani Guru Bachan Singh Ji. So the Singhs from the Taksal produced this steek. Steeks meaning just simple translations of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. So they've translated this katha, and Bhai Kamalpreet Singh from Leicester has translated that in English. So we'll send that to you guys. And yeah, just there's so many different arts, it will blow your mind. I think that's where I've gone a bit wrong this week. I've got so many different arts and my mind's just frazzled with all these different ones just in my brain. But Gave ko gun Vidyaya char. We can sing of Maharaji's gun, and as a result to the gun that we've received, that's the extent to which we can sing. But the first art in the Nikhed Pak is that no one possesses the gun that Vaheguruji has, so no, we can't speak of Vaheguruji's virtues. That was Guru Nanak Dev Ji's answer to the Sidhs. Then the Sidhs ask, what about Vaheguruji's Vidya then? What knowledge does Vaheguruji possess? And the Sidhs asked Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji responded, Gave ko Vidya Vikhama Vichar. That those Sikhs who are blessed with the teachings of Maharaji, those difficult teachings, so we can make this relate to ourselves as well. One of the arts is that those Sikhs that have understood the difficult teachings of Maharaji's, because sometimes it can be difficult, especially in this world, we're keeping our case, being different. Maybe sometimes we're the only one in our family who's keeping case. So following these teachings, following this way of life, this marg, this path can be difficult. So Gave ko Vidya Vikam Vichar. It can be difficult to follow these teachings. But who can sing of those teachings? Those people that have got the gun that Maharaji has given us, and then they've started to listen to these difficult teachings and then man these difficult teachings and then walk this path, they can sing of those difficult teachings, Vikam meaning hard and Vichar meaning knowledge or contemplation. But again, another arth is that Gave ko Vidya Vikam Vichar, that who can sing of Vaheguru Vidya, the knowledge they possess? Only someone who possesses the knowledge that Vaheguru has can speak of those different knowledges, those Vidya. So like we might do Ardas for different Vidya, Shastra Vidya. We might do Ardas, like myself might do Ardas for Santhya, or trying to do talks. So we all ask for these different Vidyas, right? And there's Vikram again meaning hard, so Katan Vidya. There's so all these different knowledges and different Shastra Vidya, different Vidyas that exist. So who can sing of these different Vidyas? And Maharaj is actually the creator of these difficult Vidyas, these different practices, and he can also give them to us as well. So Sakhi that illustrates this, that shows this, is the Sakhi of Pandit Lal Chand in the times of Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji. So Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji, the 8th Guru, was travelling to Delhi, and he stopped in a pind in a village called Panjokara. And in this village, there was a very famous Pandit called Pandit Lal Chand Ji. And he actually got quite angry that Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji was in this pind, because Pandit Lal Chand Ji's Guru was named Krishan. So he thought, hang on, how is this person called Harkrishan, Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji? How has he been given a name even higher than my Guru? Because my Guru's name is Krishan, his name is Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji. How dare he, sort of thing? He got a bit angry. So he challenged Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji. He spoke to the Sikhs, the Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji's Gur Sikhs, and he said, your Guru is only 8 years old. He's walking around, he's in my pind with the name Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji, thinking he's above my Guru. I challenge him. The Bhagavad Gita, that is one of the most difficult Vidyas, one of the most difficult granths to speak of, to do the translations of, and he's got his own granth, the Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. I challenge him to do arths of the Bhagavad Gita. So the Guru Sikhs told Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji, and Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji tell this Pandit Lal Chand Ji to meet me. So Pandit Lal Chand Ji met Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji, and he said, the Bhagavad Gita, Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji then met Pandit Lal Chand Ji. And Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji said, look, you want to give me this test of doing arths, doing translations of the Bhagavad Gita, but if I do the translations of it, you're just going to say I found it out from someone, and then I retold it, and then you're not gonna believe me. So Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji said, you know what, I'll do you one better. You pick anyone you want, and get them to do the arths and do the translations of the Bhagavad Gita. So Pandit Lal Chand Ji we say Syanapa Lakh Hoye Ta Ek Na Chale Naal, we read that in Japji Sahib. He tried to do a little Syanap, a little trick. He thought he could get one over Maharaj. So he picked someone called Chajju, and Chajju was a water carrier. He was unpad and he was a gunga meaning mute. He couldn't speak. So he picked Chajju, and he brought him in front of Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji and said, yeah, get this guy to do arts of the Bhagavad Gita. Now Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji just looked at Chajju. That's how it's written in the Granths. Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji just looked at Chajju, and immediately Chajju did the arts of the Bhagavad Gita, and so Pandit Lal Chand had 10 questions in his mind. Immediately Chajju answered all 10 of his questions, and then he answered 10 additional ones as well. So just showing that Gavik or Vidya Vikam Vichar, we can sing for Maharaj to give us these different Vidyas, these different knowledges, these different skills, and Maharaj can just give it to us just through his Kirpa Drishti, just through his darshan, just like he did with Chajju. And the Pauri continues, and the Siddhs ask, again they go back to, so what is Maharaj's bal then? Bal meaning strength. So you've said you can't tell us. They've gone back to that question. Tell us again a bit more about Vaheguru bal, their strength, and explain the strength that God possesses. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji responded to the Siddhs, Gave ko saaj kare tan khe. So Gave again to me means sing, Ko meaning who, Saj meaning create, like the creation, and Kare meaning limbs, so like body parts, Tan meaning body, and Kehe meaning destroy, or it can also mean mitti. So Maharaj is saying that Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying that Maharaj has so much power. He possesses so much power that he's the one that can create the creation and then reduce it back to dust. He can destroy the creation in an instant. That's the power that Maharaj has. That's how much power that that Maharaj has. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji asked the Siddhs, who has the power? Who has this power that they can create the creation in an instant and then destroy it in an instant? So Maharaj has got a copyright. He can create the body and then he sustains the body. Who else can do that? Maharaj asked the Siddhs. Nobody can do that. And then Maharaj again said, Gave ko ji la phir dehe. So just to emphasize the power that Maharaj has, Guru Nanak Dev Ji says that how can we sing of Maharaj's power? The one who can take a ji, he can take a being, la meaning take, ji meaning being, and then phir meaning then, and dehe meaning gives. So he can take the soul from a being and then put it in a different body. Maharaj can create and then he can destroy. He can take a being and he can destroy a being and put that soul into a different being. And a Sakya that illustrates that is of Bhai Mullah Khatri. So if you go to Hazur Sahib in Nandir, there's a Gurdwara called Shikar Khat. You can also see it on the Basics channel, Gurdwara Tours, and the vlogs that was just released. Episode 1. Hopefully Karamveer releases episode 2 soon. So yeah, what happened in the times of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Mullah Khatri was a Gursikh in the times of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and he travelled with Guru Nanak Dev Ji on their travels while Guru Nanak Dev Ji was doing Parchar. Now one day they went back to their pind, and Mullah Khatri went back home, and Guru Nanak Dev Ji warned him, you're going back home, you're allowed to go back home. They gave him agya, they gave him permission, but they warned him, don't get in attachment, don't get in moh. Don't get more. And Mullah Khatri went home, and so he was there for a few days, but his wife was also, she was quite attached, and he said, look, please don't go back now, I missed you a lot. When Guru Nanak Dev Ji comes, just leave it, don't go back with him. And so after a couple of days, Guru Nanak Dev Ji came. They said, where's Mullah Khatri? And the wife said, no, he's not here. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, acha, Haniga? And she said, no, Haniga. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji said 3 times, Haniga, Haniga, the Haniga. If he's not here, then he's not here. And she said, yeah, he's not here. So, and then later that night, Mullah Khatri was bitten by a snake. And he died. And then for Sachi Hanigazi. And the wife then realized the mistake she's made. So the next day she went to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and she said, Maharaj, please forgive me. I've made a mistake. I know I lied. I missed him. I didn't want him to go back. But I've made a mistake. Please forgive me. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, Mullah Khatri was a Gursikh of mine. He done lots of seva. So he will be liberated. He will get mukti. But he's still going to have to porg the karam that he done. So he won't be liberated now. But when I come back in my 10th form of Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji, he will be liberated. So that's why that Guru Ghat has been built in Hazur Sahib in Nandir, because at that spot where Shikar Ghat is, that Gurdwara, Guru Gobind Singh Ji went hunting. They went to do Shikar, and they killed a rabbit. And the Gursikhs were like, Maharaj, why did you do that? Why did you kill this rabbit? And why did you do that for? And Guru Gobind Singh Ji told the Gursikhs that story, that this rabbit in his previous June was Mullah Khatri, and he was the Gursikh of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, an amazing Gursikh of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So I've come in this form to give him liberation as Guru Nanak Dev Ji gave that bachan. So Gave ko ji la phir dehe, that Maharaj can take a being. He can take that soul and place it in another body, in another June, just like we see with the Pai Mullah Khatri. Gave ko jape dise dur. So the Sidh asked Maharaj about Vaheguru Ji's, again, the limits of Vaheguru. And Maharaj responded that knowing Parmeshwar, knowing God, seeing them as far away, some people sing, and to the limits, to the extent of their knowledge, to the extent of their relationship with Maharaj, some people see Maharaj as dur. So we can, so in the Bidhi Pakha, how we can relate this to ourselves, the artha, the second artha we can do, is that some people, depending on our kamai or our karam, our pichle karam, some of us see Vaheguru Ji is really far. Gave ko jape dise dur. But some of us see Vaheguru Ji as ne, gave ko vekhe hadra hadur. That Maharaj Ji is really close. So sometimes, Pastor Gleason wanted me to share this, so I'm going to have to now. So I was, at Bhai Jagat Singh's Barsi in the hall downstairs. Sometimes we're physically close to Maharaj, but in our mind we're not. So I was there, listening, or not listening to Kirtan, I was just present there, but my mind was elsewhere. I was thinking about my FIFA career mode, my team, thinking about Liverpool. And, so sometimes even though we're physically close to Maharaj, mentally we're not there. Same way there's a Sakhi in the times of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, and there was a match going on. I don't know what match, but there were 10 Gursikhs there, I think, and 5 of them were on Peradar. So 5 of them were on Peradar. Peradar meaning like on God, basically on God of Maharaj. And 5 of them decided to actually watch the match. So the 5 that went to watch the match, they were thinking, oh man, we should have stayed with Maharaj. And the 5 that stayed with Maharaj that were doing Peradar, they were thinking, oh man, we should have gone to the match. So those that were physically close to Maharaj, they were mentally away from Maharaj because their mind wasn't with Maharaj. But those that were far away from Maharaj watching the match, they were thinking, I wish I was with Maharaj. So they were actually close to Maharaj. So Gave ko veke hadra hadur. And again, the Nikhed Pakha. So Maharaj is saying, who can sing of Vaheguru Ji's power again? Gave ko veke hadra hadur. Because Maharaj is closer than close. Hadra meaning ne, hadur meaning close. So who can sing of Vaheguru Ji's praise or Vaheguru Ji's power, who is closer than anything, closer than our limbs? We see our hands, our body, our feet. Maharaj is closer than that, but not just with us, for all of the creation, all of the beings, everyone that's there. Maharaj is like, I heard this from Gyani Bajinder Singh Ji, Shahidi Bunga Lester, follow them. Maharaj is like permanent CCTV on the whole dunya, 24/7. Maharaj is, so who can speak of Vaheguru Ji's power? Who can sing their praises? Who's got that much power that they're 24/7 CCTV on every being, every creation in the planet? When we look at it like that, we get a bit scared. Oh, we think we're doing it. Gupta. Maharaj knows everything. 24/7 CCTV, copyright. And then the Sidh asked, so this is the power that God has. So the Sidh asked, if we've understood a little bit now about the power that God has, but are there any beings that got to a stage where they were able to comprehend Maharaji's power or Maharaji's the limits of the power? Were they able to? But there are no limits on Vahguruji's power, because thought means end. And Maharaj responded, Kathana Kathi na ave thought. That Katha meaning doing Katha, like what I'm trying but not doing too well here now. Kathi meaning expound another. So Katha is doing Katha. Expound meaning expanding on that Katha. And na ave thought. So many people have tried to do Katha of Vahguruji's power, but na ave thought. They've not been able to find the ends or the limits of Vahguruji's power. And then Maharaj went on to say, Katha Katha Kathi Koti Kot Kot. So Kath meaning expound or just doing Katha. And so Maharaj said that twice. And then Kathi, the one who expounds. So there's Kath, who just means doing Katha. And then Kathi is the person doing the Katha. And then Koti means millions. And Kot Kot also means millions. But we can also break that down further. So we can join it into pairs. So we've got Kath and Koti, Kath and Kot, Kathi and Kot. So again, we said Katha just means doing Katha, and Kot means millions. So Kath and Koti meaning in the past people have tried to do Katha of Maharaj. Kath and Kot in the present Right now, people are trying to do Katha of Maharaj and Maharaj's power. And in the future as well, people will be trying to do Katha of Maharaj, Kathi and Court. So again, just emphasizing that millions have tried in the past to do Katha of Maharaj. Millions and find these limits of Vaheguruji's power. And they try to find the ends or the limits of Vaheguruji's power. People have tried in the past, they've tried in the present, and they will try in the future. But they can't find an end to Vaheguruji's power, but another end ho janda. Maharaj taught the Siddhs. People try till their death to find the end or the limits of Vaheguruji's power, but they can't find the end of Vaheguruji's power. Instead, their end happens. So then the Siddhs asked, okay, so you've told us about Vaheguruji's power. What about, and you've told us about the gifts he gives then, Gave ko daat, Jane Nisan. But does he ever get tired of giving gifts then? Or does he ever stop providing these gifts? Do they ever get tired of providing these gifts? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji, because again, they were asking in the hope that if they could put a limit to Vaheguru gifts, then again they could then put that shanka or try to disprove Guru Nanak Dev Ji's teachings. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji responded, De da, de la, de thak pahe. That De da, the provider, the giver, De meaning gives, he keeps giving. The provider keeps giving, but the taker, he's the one who gets tired, not the giver. So like I said earlier, we get so many gifts from Maharaj. From the moment we're born, each breath we get, our jobs, or so many gifts. If we actually think come from a place of gratitude, there's so many things to be grateful for. But we never get tired of taking. ਆਪਾਂ ਹੋਰ ਮੰਗਦੇ ਆ. That the taker, he doesn't get tired. He gets tired because he keeps giving. Maharaj keeps giving, but the taker, he keeps taking, but eventually he gets tired. How does he? That doesn't just mean physically tired. Tired in the sense that he keeps taking all his life from the moment he's born, from his first breath, all the way to his end to his last breath. He keeps taking. That's how he gets tired. That till his end, till his death, he keeps taking, and lenda thak gaya, and then he passes, he dies. And Maharaj then again emphasizes Maharaj's power. Guru Nanak Dev Ji emphasizes Maharaj's power because he asks the Siddhs, is there any other giver? Is there any other giver who gives so much that the taker says, "Bas, I've had enough"? There's no other giver. That's the power that Maharaj has. We get 1 million, we ask for 2 million. We keep asking, but Maharaj gives so much that then the taker eventually gets tired and he passes and he dies in his last moments. And then with that, again, that can also relate to unlimited wants we have. And Maharaj says in Gurbani Sarab Sukha me palya har jevar na koi. That I've seen all the different pleasures, all the different happinesses, or the perceived happinesses we think in the world, but there's no such pleasure as the gift of Vaheguru, or being joined to Vaheguru. And then to emphasize that Maharaj never gets tired and they keep giving their gifts, Maharaj says, Juga Jugantar Kahi Kahe. That within the 4 different ages, and in all the different ages and all the different jugs, and then all the 4 different ages, the consumer, us, the beings, we keep taking. The consumer keeps consuming. And that's how it's been from the start of time to now, and it will always be in the future as well. The takers keep taking. And Maharaj ends this body with the question that in answer to the Siddh's question. So so you've spoken about the one you've spoken about God's power, Maharaj's power, but this person who creates the hukum and has this power, is he self-governing then? It also links back to the second body. Is he self-governing, or is he governed by another? So is there someone in charge of this person who has all this power? Or does everything happen in accordance to Vaheguruji's will? So hukami meaning Vaheguruji, hukam meaning will or command, and Jalai meaning move, and Raho meaning the path. So Vaheguru responded that Guru Nanak Dev Ji responded that Vaheguru is self-governing and everything happens in accordance to his will. Whatever Vaheguru wants to happen, hukami Vaheguru, hukam meaning the command, everything happens in Vaheguruji's will. and Jalaya Raho. So Vaheguru Ji puts us on the path, and everything is happening in accordance to Vaheguru Ji's will. So, for example, the trees that move, the leaves that move, when you've got the waves of the ocean, they come crashing, but when they come back down, they calm down, because they, even there in the hukum of Vaheguru Ji's, the creation is in the hukum of Vaheguru Ji's and have to act in Vaheguru Ji's hukum. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, so when we read in Bani, when it says Nanak, we'll describe that as Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji states. In a similar way, when in the first talk, when I said Japji Sahib, Jap has the word, the shabd, the G added to it out of Satkar. Same way, when Nanak comes up in Gurbani, we don't just say Nanak, we say Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji states. So Nanak Vikasa Ve Parvaho. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji states that everything happens in accordance to his hukum, and Maharaji watches the creation, watches his creation pleased, Vigasa, he's pleased and he's carefree. Carefree, he watches over his creation. Now the Bidi Pak, the other arth we can do with that, because then by doing Gave, singing Maharaji's praises, if we sing Maharaji's praises, we can obtain a state where we're Vigsa Ve Parvaho. If we go in accordance, so hukumi hukuma jalai rahu. If we move, so Maharaj places us on the path. You know, we're born into Gursikh Jivan, and then Maharaj tells us we've got the knowledge of how to act in hukum. He gives us the teachings of how to act within hukum. And those that act within hukum and accept Vaheguru Ji's hukum as mittha, tera ki ya mitha lage. We accept Maharaj's whatever they do as their hukum as mittha, as sweet. They then obtain a state of Vigasa Ve Parvaho. They become carefree. So, like I was saying, Maharaji's creation, even the creation acts within Maharaji's hukum. In Sukha, I think it's in Sukha, but in Gurbani, Maharaj says, Pa vich pavana vaha sadavao, pa vich chalaha lakh dariyao. So, Pa vich pavana vaha sadavao. So, in fear of God, the wind and the breezes, they blow, because that's within Maharaji's hukum. That's their job. That's what they've been given to do. The wind, the leaves on trees, the plants, they move, and the wind moves them, because that's in Vaheguru Ji's hukum. And in the same way, that the waves of the ocean, the rivers, they flow in accordance to Vaheguru Ji's hukum. And like we see here, so what does that mean then, that they stay within Vaheguru Ji's hukum? So when the waves in the ocean, look how they're crashing so fast. But if they had free will, or the waves could do whatever they wanted, they could just then drown the creation, or drown these two surfers, and go over the rocks. But once, look how fast the waves are going, but as soon as they reach the shore, the waves calm down. Why is that? That's because they have to go in accordance to Vaheguru Ji's hukum. Hukumi hukuma chalai rahu. That even the waves of the ocean, they move in accordance to Vaheguru Ji's hukum. Nanak Vigsave Parvaho, and Maharaji watches his creation forever in bliss and carefree. So just a Sakhi to end with, that sort of illustrates the power, or we said Nanak Vigsave Parvaho, the other artha, meaning that if we sing Vaheguru Ji's praises and we sing of Vaheguru Ji's power, that we can obtain a state where we become Vigasa Ve Parvaho, we become in a state of carefree and we're forever in bliss. There's a Sakhi of Bhai Bhikhari Ji, and he was a Sikh, and in the times of Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj, a Sikh went up to Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji and did benti ke Maharaj, please show me a Gursikh, a model Gursikh, an amazing Gursikh that I can get darshan of. And Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji sent this Gursikh to meet by Bhikhari Ji in Gujarat. So this Sikh went to Gujarat and he went to meet by Bhikhari Ji, and in the house he was sent to, it was wedding time. There was going to be a wedding in that house. It was going to be the wedding, the vyah of a Bhai Bhikhari Ji's son. So he went there, and there was quite a festive sort of atmosphere. People were dancing, people were, had jolly. And he thought, what great being is going to be here? But he went upstairs and he met Bhai Bhikhari Ji. and Bhai Bhikhari Ji was actually sewing a white chola like what I'm wearing, and he was making other things. He was making other things that actually what you would prepare for a funeral. So this Gursikh asked Bhai Bhikhari Ji, "What's this? What's this you're doing?" And he said, "Don't worry, you'll find out tomorrow." So in the night, Bhai Bhikhari Ji's son died. It was meant to be his wedding the next day. He died at night time. I just heard my mum groan. This is so emotional. So yeah, so Bhai Bhikhari Ji, his son died, and the Gursikh then realized that Bhai Bhikhari Ji already knew that his son was going to die. He had retained that spiritual avastha, that spiritual level, that he knew his son was going to die. But hukmi hukma chalaya raho, he still manned Maharaj's hukum. He stayed in accordance to Vaheguru Ji's will because he accepted that. Because if he wanted to, he could have stopped the wedding, or he could have stopped his son, or he could have made taken the measures to make sure his son survives. But he manned Maharaj's bana, Maharaj's hukum as mitta, and he was preparing. He knew his son was going to die, and while everyone else was crying, pitting, rona, tona, all in an emotional state, Bhai Bhikhari Ji was there still in bliss, which is such a hard thing to imagine. Your son's died, it was going to be your son's wedding, but he was in that state of anand, and in vigsa, carefree state, that even though he knew his son was going to pass, and he was making his own son's chola for his funeral, when on the day he was meant to get married. So just a recap of this talk. So we started with a recap of Hukum and the last teaching in the second Pauri that Guru Nanak Dev Ji blessed us with, that everyone is within Maharaj's Hukum. And when we realized that, we will never speak in ego again, and we realized that our Asal Sarup, our true form, is that of our soul and not this body that we're so attached to. We then did Vachar of Vaheguru Ji's power, and we looked at the two different lenses of Nikhed Pak and Bidhi Pak. That from a Nikhed Pak, Guru Nanak Dev Ji gave the uttar, gave the answers to the Sidhs. With each question they asked, Guru Nanak, you can look at it this way: each question that the Sidhs asked Guru Nanak Dev Ji in this Pauri, they're trying to find a limit to Vaheguru Ji's power, and Vaheguru Ji's gifts, and Vaheguru Ji's strength. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji kept telling them, there's no limit. You can't place a limit on Vaheguru Ji's power. And then on the other lens, from a Bidhi Pak lens, we learned that Gave Go, and then each Pangati, that some of us sing to obtain some of the power and the virtues that Vaheguru Ji has. Some people sing, then like by Adam Ji, to get those gifts, Gave Go, Data Jani Nisan, by Adam Ji sung Vaheguru Ji's praises and of Vaheguru Ji's power, and then to the extent of the gifts he received, to that extent he could speak of Vaheguru Ji's power, because he'd experienced that, right? And yeah, Vaheguru Ji's gifts, like I said, by Adam Ji. And then Vaheguru Ji's qualities, like Gave Ko Gun Vidya Yachar, that Vaheguru Ji's got so many amazing jar, beautiful gun, that we can't put a limit on them. Again, answering that question of the Sidhs when they asked about Vaheguru Ji's gun, and Maharaj Ji said, Guru Nanak Dev Ji responded that Maharaj Ji's got so many gun, so many beautiful Vidyaya, praises, virtues, that we can't put a limit on it. And then how close is Vaheguru Ji? And then we gave the Sakhi of in the times of Guru Gobind Singh Ji 5-6. Even though they were physically close to Maharaj, mentally they weren't. And the ones that were physically far from Maharaj, mentally they were close to Maharaj. And then the non-stop provider. So the Sidh asked Guru Nanak Dev Ji, you've told us about Vaheguru Ji's power and the gifts that he provides, but does he ever get tired? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji responded, no. Maharaj keeps giving. Maharaj keeps giving, and in fact, on the other end, it's the taker who eventually gets to take so much, they keep taking, that eventually they get tired, and another antahoj, and then they keep taking until their last breath when they die. So that is the end of this talk. Again, I said it in the first talk, I'm not a Gyani. There's amazing Kathavachaks out there, there's amazing resources out there. Please, on the back of this, do Khoj, listen to Katha, whether it's in Punjabi or in English, buy the Steak, and there's so much beautiful stuff out there, especially the Steak that Bhai Kamalpreet Singh's released. We'll definitely put that in the group if you scan the QR code, because that is a treasure. It's probably one of the greatest sevas or greatest things. I think a Sikh has in our generation has probably even created. It's amazing. So definitely read that. Listen to Katha. And like we said on the first day, the point of this is that whatever your relationship is with Guru Nanak Dev Ji, with Sikhi, with Japji Sahib, we're here to improve that and increase that together. If we're listening to Japji Sahib, start reading Japji Sahib. If we're reading Japji Sahib, start reading multiple Japji Sahibs. We heard in the first talk about the importance of getting Japji Sahib or getting Japji Sahib memorized. Have we made steps to get Japji Sahib memorized? It's wicked. It's so nice to see so much Sangat coming week in, week out. I don't want to do too much, just personal, which I'll keep it to a good boni. But that's one thing I just wanted to end with. Keep improving your relationship with Maharaj. Keep making steps, and let's hopefully, I've made many mistakes in this gatha, and hopefully just give me your blessings that we can continue this seva, and just give me your blessings. Deho Sijan Isi Sriya Jo Hova Sahib Zio Mel Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. If you've got any questions, ask Bhai Sukhdeep Singh. I'll try my best if there's any questions. You lot are nice to me, man. You lot got loads of questions for the other guys. There you go. Yeah, I'm not gonna force you guys. If no questions, that's fine. Ah, okay. Why could you go Khalsa? गावे को साथ करे तन खे है गावे को जिले पर दे है.
Yeah, just the whole thing. So I was looking at it as a set of instructions that, and when you've explained it, you're explaining it as if there's no limits to the knowledge, there's no limits to the power. But I was thinking about it in a wrong way, in a sense, because I was looking at it as we have to think about the knowledge, the limitless knowledge, the limitless power. Because if we say it, I know that's going to be the next body next week, but we'll hear it, then we'll speak it.
No, that's not wrong. So there's, like I was saying, there's two different lenses, right? So the Sidhs were trying to find a limit on Vaheguru Ji's power. So they were saying how much power. So like the analogy that's given is that, like if there's a wrestler, we all know from the wrestler's strength what power he has, what power he possesses. So the Sidhs, in that way, they were trying to find out what power does Vaheguru Ji have, because if we know, say Vaheguru Ji has X amount of power, then we can put a limit to Vaheguru Ji's power. And then Guru Nanak Dev Ji saying, no, you can't put a limit on Vaheguru Ji's power. Look at how much power Vaheguru Ji has. He creates for the creation. He creates for all the people that have lived, not just people that are living now, that are going to live. So Maharaj is telling them, you can't put a limit on Vaheguru. Guru Nanak Dev Ji telling them, you can't put a limit on Vaheguru Ji's power. But we do sing Vaheguru Ji's praises. We sing their gun. We sing for their gifts, because by singing those gun, we can obtain some of those gun. Does that make sense? Yeah, thank you so much. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.
WhyGuru. So thank you so much to Rovi Singh for the talk. We finish off with 5 minutes of Simran, and then we do Ardas Hukunama Sahib. So Benti from Simran Kaur could do some Simran. Pardon the fun. For 5 minutes.